What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Revision Podcast, Episode 3. I'm Will.
And I'm Grant. And today we're going to be talking about archaeological evidence for the Bible.
Yes. Or just historic proof of the Bible and Jesus.
Yeah. First, but how was your week?
My week was pretty good.
Real?
I'm trying to think of what I did. I didn't do a lot. All our friends went back to college. Looking to start a new job now.
Yeah.
Didn't start last week, though, so I didn't really do much. But we had our first day of the semester of our high school and middle school ministry, and that was hype. That was sick.
Yeah. I was talking to one of her friends about it. I asked her, like, how many people went to it. She said there was, like, over 300 people.
Yeah.
Which was unreal.
So, last year, how many did we have? Like 200 last year?
I think at most they probably had 200.
Yeah.
This year was unreal.
Yeah, we also added a whole new grade, though.
That helps, yeah.
Yeah.
But
my group alone had like almost 20 kids.
Yeah, like 7th grade. Like we had 14 boys.
Yeah.
But the girls, they had about
like 30 something.
They had
37,
37
34, something
girls
like that.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Unreal.
That's crazy. I can't even imagine. You have to like split that up. I can't even imagine.
They only have like 3 leaders too.
I know.
So I don't know.
We had 20 something. There was 2 of us.
Yeah, there's like 3 of us, so
one of ours
we were fine.
Was missing, yeah. But that was cool though. I love.
Yeah, the talk was good. Worship was good. Games were good.
We lost everything though. My team did.
We won like 2-0 in the first. Like we won the first 2 games. Yeah. We lost the last one, but I don't know. I had fun bringing all the people in.
Yeah.
Me and Joey and Payne were out there just bringing cars in. We were just going up to random cars too.
I taped the games together, and then me and Joey got there earlier and put up all the chairs.
Yeah. I got there around that time, but half of the chairs were gone.
It's fun though. I love listening to like the worship team like practice.
Yeah, and then like I see them like messing up and all that stuff and they're laughing, and then when they get to it they actually just nail it.
Yeah.
I'm like, good for them.
It's like us doing this. Except not at all.
Yeah, we don't do multiple takes of this.
No, one take. One take wonders.
Maybe we should do multiple takes.
Maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So, do you know anything about your week? You done? Or no?
I started school back up.
Ugh.
Yeah. Classes were very, very, very interesting.
Yeah.
I have like 2 in-person classes and then 2 online classes. So like my online classes haven't started up again. But like just the kids are the kids my age, I should say. I shouldn't call them kids. But they're just, I don't know. I don't want to call them weird, but definitely not people I would hang out with.
Yeah. I went there first semester.
Yeah.
For like background information, I do not go to school. Grant's back in school, but he didn't go to school.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so far behind. I'm like, so I should have went 2 years to go to school. Well, I did technically go 2 years ago to school.
Yeah.
2022, the fall semester, I was in school, and then I dropped out because I didn't like the school that I was at.
Yeah.
And then I went like a year and a half not in school, just working. And then I was like, probably should go back to school.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna be a blue collar worker. I'm not gonna be any of that stuff. I could make a lot of money doing that stuff, but it's not something I want to do.
Yeah. Me neither.
Yeah, Will's just gonna be
That's why I have a camera.
Yeah.
He's behind a computer.
Just gonna film people.
Yeah.
Grant, what are you going to school for?
Yeah, what are you going to school for?
I don't know yet. I made I like told them, like the academic advisor, they're like, what do you want to go to school for? And I was like, I either want to be a business major or I want to be a pastor. And like, really? And like, so why are you here then? Like, I don't know, honestly.
Yeah.
But I'm not like 100% on either one yet. So we're going to see how.
You got 2 years figured out?
Yeah, I got 2 years. And if I don't like either one of them, then I gotta figure something else out. But
Yeah.
I mean, business isn't like the worst thing in the world because like everything's dealing
Mhm.
with business. But being a pastor, he's kind of sick, and I love talking about Jesus.
Yeah.
So it's just like they're always like, my parents always said to me like, do something you're passionate about, like find a job that you love, and like it won't feel like work. So I'm like, if I become a pastor, I love Jesus. I won't feel like I'm working. But I know it's not just that easy. Like I have to put in work to become like a pastor.
Yeah. So, historic evidence of the Bible.
Yes.
Now, this is more for like, you know, I guess I would say non-believers too. Not directed at them, but it's this whole episode isn't directed at them, but it's, you know, that's kind of who these questions and stuff that we're bringing up and like the topics we're going to bring up are kind of against, or like proving them
Mm-hmm.
that it's true, like that it happened and stuff. Do you want to start or you want me to start?
Yeah. So kind of what you were saying about the non-believers, but it also kind of like reaffirms my faith as
Yeah.
well. So like whenever I think of like why do I believe that this message is true, I look at the like historical things with it, like, is Jesus who he says he was? And when I think of Jesus, I think of like what Jesus means and what Jesus did that was significant. And Jesus did a lot of things significant, but I think of the cross. I think of him dying and coming back to life. And all of that to say is there were 12 disciples he had, and there was probably many more who this happened to them, but we're going to focus on the people who were close in his life. They affirmed that this happened, that Jesus was who he said he was. He was God, and he died and came back to life. Even against death, facing death, every single one of them was killed saying that this happened. They were killed for this lie that they said, even though they're saying it's the truth, and that's why they were killed. The only one who didn't die was John, but he died of old age, I believe. I think that's what they say. But every other person died for what they believed. And I don't remember what verse, and this, I hate the fact that I always do this. I forget the verse, but it says like, some people wouldn't die for a righteous person. Like not a lot of people would die for a righteous person or even a good person. So with the fact that these people are, I believe, dying for Jesus, the most, like, the perfect person that ever walked the earth. They're saying, this is what I believe. Like, what happened actually happened. And they're saying, no, it didn't. If you keep saying this, you're going to be killed. He said, okay. So them dying for a righteous person just proves to me that that is what happened. And I don't believe many people would die with that lie.
Yeah.
If like they were lying, they would have been like, yeah, I'm crazy. Like that person was crazy. I'm not actually true. And that's the same thing that happened with Peter. Peter, whenever they were arresting Jesus, they're like, the people were like, hey, you're one of his people. And Peter denied him 3 times. He was like, no, I don't know that person. I do not know that person. I am not with him. And Jesus told him this was going to happen. And then after the death, or after the resurrection, I should say, he came to him and he was like, hey, like, he's like, you did this. And he's like, I know, please forgive me. And, like, Jesus forgave him. And like, Peter was never going to do that again. He's like, I messed up. Like, I will never do that again. And he was killed for it.
Yeah.
They were all killed for it. So I don't know, like, just 12 people all dying.
Yeah.
For that just makes me like, gotta believe it.
Yeah, and people say like, well, he could have been schizophrenic. He could have been crazy. Like, talking about Jesus. I just don't believe that a schizophrenic or somebody who's crazy, like, mentally not right, can convert 30 something percent of the population to believe that, like, what happened. And, like, there are a lot of people who are crazy in this world who claim to be Jesus. And you can just, like, tell, like, that they are not, that something, that they're just not there mentally. And, like, that's just not what Jesus was. Like, Jesus just wasn't that. Jesus was perfect. Jesus, like I was saying before, like, the podcast, we talked about it. Ethically, the Sermon on the Mount, like, all scholars, like, I believe all scholars can take away that, like, the Sermon on the Mount is, like, one of the most ethical speeches, or, like, just, talks to this day. It's just like the stuff it talks about in it. That's just, like, that. I don't even think that applies to, like, Christianity. It's just, like, it's helpful in life. I mean, it's how you should be living.
I think this is crazy. Like, whenever you look in your Bible in Matthew, it takes up 3 chapters in Matthew. And the fact that he was able just to say all that stuff, and you look at every single thing, and it's just how you should live. He literally gives you a blueprint on how to live, no matter if you are a Christian or not.
Yeah.
Like, this is how you should live. And, like, it's just, ethics are on point with it.
Yeah. Like, and I don't know, I feel like if he was crazy, it wouldn't be that accurate to this day.
Yeah, I don't believe people would be using it, or even other religions.
Yeah.
Like, you were saying that.
I looked into the Quran today, which was written by Muhammad, I believe. Pretty positive.
Yeah,
Muhammad wrote the Quran. Muhammad was a prophet of Allah and the Muslim religion. That's their, Allah's the deity they worship. I don't. But Muhammad, in the Quran, Muhammad talks about Jesus Christ, but they refer to him as, I can't remember the specific word in the language, but it translates to good people. So it was never said that he was a prophet or anything, which obviously he's not a prophet of their, like, Allah and stuff, but he is referenced in that religion. Which I don't think anybody is denying the proof of that Jesus Christ existed. I think everybody will say that.
Yeah, like, all scholars will say that Jesus was a real person. Yeah. Now, like, even, like, just, I believe every religion probably points to that. But it's just the fact of, was he God?
Yeah. Was he, Messiah?
Did he die?
Did he do all the things that's claimed in the Bible?
Yeah.
Which is, this could be so wrong, but Cliff, I can't even say his Nectly. Thank you, Luke. Yeah, Cliff Connectly talked about it in I think it was in the Logan Paul podcast, but he said something about how Muhammad, and in the Quran, it might not be, I think it was in the Quran, Muhammad, like, says something about Jesus Christ and that he was born of a virgin, like, he was born from a virgin, which is, like, weird to think about, that it's in another religion. It's, said that too. But I think that And then obviously all the miracles he performed and the resurrection are where it gets people, especially the resurrection.
Yeah. I mean, it's just something that, like, I can't prove that happened.
No, I think scientifically, I don't think we'll ever be able to prove that. But I also think scientifically, you will never be able to prove that a Big Bang happened
Yeah.
or that monkeys turned into monkeys turned into us.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that science cannot prove that are claimed to have happened.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that there's so many eyewitness accounts
Mm-hmm.
that the resurrection took place, not even in the Bible too. Like I have a lot of quotes that we might get into a little bit later, but there's one other thing I wanted to talk about before that.
Mm-hmm.
So for the longest time too, for thousands of years, the biggest argument of the resurrection was that there was no archaeological proof of crucifixion. That didn't surface until I believe the 1960s. The first they started finding bones with nails and stuff through their limbs and all that. They never found the bones of Jesus. Well, can't really, but
Yeah.
so they found proof of crucifixion and like being nailed to a cross in the 60s, and I believe more recently in the 21st century they found more evidence of it. Also recently there was I mean within the past 10, 15 years, but they found a cloth that they believed was what was wrapped around Jesus's body, because they found blood on it, that was still living, that dated back thousands of years, that was alive, which is impossible. And it had 23 chromosomes from the mom and 1 from the dad, which is, again, impossible. But that's just the thing. It's impossible. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. What's impossible for us is easy to him. Elevation worship.
But yeah, just like, again, yeah, it's hard for me to grasp that. Like, just think like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But then I just remember who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I remember who we are talking about right now.
Yeah.
And like, for me, like, all this stuff, like, I obviously believe.
Yeah.
Because of my faith.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my faith is the only reason why I believe this. If you were to say anybody else, like, oh yeah, like 20 years ago we found this guy's DNA and it's still living. It dates back 2,000 years. Just
No, it's a fluke.
Some Joe Schmo. Like,
Yeah.
I don't believe that. But because they're talking about Jesus here,
Mm-hmm.
like, well, of course I believe that.
Yeah.
Because of, like, things that have happened in my life and I've seen happen in other people's life. It's hard to get, like, obviously I get, like, struck with, like, I'm in awe of it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I just believe that I'm like, what else can he do to, like, wow me?
Yeah.
Like, he's going to do so many more things in my life that's going to wow me. Like, just this wows me. That's, like, insane.
Yeah.
That they're able to find that stuff.
Imagine finding that.
Imagine being that person.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Who found that?
unreal.
There's a video too. I might play it on screen. We'll see.
Yeah. I remember watching a Ben Stewart sermon, and he was talking about like the earliest copies of the Old Testament. And they said like the earliest like accounts, like they said the original copy they found dates back like 100 AD. And then somebody found another copy in like a cave that dates back like 90 AD,
Yeah.
like 10 years before. And they're like, "Oh, that's not the original copy though." So and he was like, "So you're saying that the original copy
Yeah.
is 10 years after a replica copy?"
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
So like, I don't know. It's just so hard for like me to think like that this is just all made up and like they just like write it at different times, all this stuff. Like, I don't know. I can't get behind like people saying that it's not. Like, this is not like it's
Yeah.
a history book. Like, this is a history book throughout the time.
Yeah.
And there's so much stuff that just backs it up that like this is like encounters real world. Like, one thing I found was the earliest account of the word or the name Israel, and they used the word in this inscription by this guy Merneptah. I think that's how you say his
Yeah.
name. I'm gonna butcher these
me
next
too.
cities' names, but it dates back to 1210 BC and describes the armies fought with Canaan,
Yeah.
and the armies that were it mentions Askenan, Gezar, and Yenam,
Yeah.
and Israel. So it mentions all those cities, and by all the three cities before, they put the symbol, and this is all written in Hebrew. So like the symbols right next to the name is the symbol for city state. And back then they used that to like say that these people had a king, that they're a city, like they're their own people. So they put that, and it means they have a king. And the symbol they put next to Israel was the symbol of foreign people. So right then and there they say like these people do not have a king. They are not like a city, they're not a state. They're just random people that are together. There's no leader over them. And in 1210 BC, for the Bible, like chronologically, it lines up with Judges, like the time the book Judges was written. And like a common verse that is said throughout Judges is, in those days, Israel had no king.
Yeah.
And I look at that and I'm just like, so what you're saying is like this guy who is an Egyptian pharaoh is writing this inscription just saying, hey, these people don't have a king. Like, these are real people. I'm acknowledging them as real Israel. This is the first time I'm ever saying their name.
Yeah.
They have no king. And in Judges, the book is even saying, hey, we have no king. That just lines up so perfectly with them saying, like, this is real. Like, what the Bible says with Canaan, or Canon, however you say. I'm so bad with how to say stuff, man. But this stuff lines up perfectly. And I just like look at that. I'm like, well, how does somebody gonna explain that? Like that this does not line up perfectly.
Yeah. Crazy. I think though, like historically, this is more accurate than what you read in school. Like for history wise, the Bible is written like so close to the dates of all this happening, and you're reading stuff in class talking about whatever that happened thousands, hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
That was written like nowadays about this stuff. Which there's more archaeological evidence and all this, but still,
Yeah.
like this is like from that time.
What is the word they use for that?
What do you mean?
Like, whenever someone's like, oh, I got like, it's like firsthand evidence.
An eyewitness account?
No, it's not. I wasn't account. I wanted this in school, and I forgot it now. It's like this was written in the time. Like the copies.
Yeah.
Like the first things are like. I don't know.
I can't think of the word either. Dude, this doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Put the word
Scratch
in.
it. Scratch the poll podcast.
Just put the word in, like, what I'm trying to say.
Oh, not the mic. Everything's going downhill, guys.
We're good.
Oh boy.
We're not good.
Oh gosh.
We're good.
No, yeah.
Just put the word in over top of what I'm trying to say.
I'll find it.
I'll find it.
Someone will.
I'll find it. But
Yeah.
what were we saying?
I don't know. You were talking. We were.
I don't want to get back into that.
Yeah. So, again, like I was saying, the crucifixion, resurrection is. You can't prove the resurrection. Scientifically, we'll never be able to make sense of supernatural. But I have quotes from historians back in the day talking about Jesus Christ, supernatural, and all that stuff, all that fun stuff, you know. Mm-hmm. This is not in the Bible. This is outside of Scripture. I'm gonna butcher every name I say. Shabbath 104b. Jesus was a magician and a fool. So him saying magician shows that something was up. He was doing something out of the ordinary, you know, something supernatural. Sanhedrin, did I say that right?
Sanhedrin, yeah.
Yeah, Sanhedrin 107b of the Babylonian Talmud. I don't know. Jesus performed magic and incited the people of Israel and led them astray. Again, claiming he used magic. Supernatural. That's what magic is, you know? Sanhedrin 43a, on Passover Eve, they hanged Jesus of Nazareth. He practiced sorcery, incited, and led Israel astray. So, they, you know, this says that he was hanged.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't necessarily say that he was crucified, but I would consider that hanging.
He's hanging on the cross, yeah.
Yeah. And then, again, practice sorcery. Tacitus, Christ, from whom the name had its origin, suffered the extreme penalty during the reign of Tiberius at the hands of Pontius Pilatus, and at most mischievous superstition. Again, saying he died.
Mm-hmm.
So this last one is from a man named, I cannot remember his first name. Josephus, his name's Josephus. He wrote this in 93 AD in a book called Antiquities of the Jews. So he quoted in it, he said, "About this time there lived Jesus, a wise man, if indeed one ought to call him a man. For he wrought surprising feats. He was the Christ. When Pilate condemned him to be crucified, those who had came to love him did not give up their affection for him. On the third day he appeared, restored to life, and the tribe of Christians has not disappeared." This was written in almost 100 AD, within the first century, stating, you know, Christ, if you ought to call him a man, crucified, and that he rose again, that he was resurrected, and that those who loved him did not give up their affection for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like what you were talking about earlier with the disciples. This is all from an account outside of the Bible too, which is like crazy to me.
Yeah. And so I just like thought about something when we talk about accounts, like how can we prove that the Bible is reliable and like all this. Whenever Jesus comes back, they say that the people that Jesus appears to is women. And back then,
Yeah.
if they were gonna use they wouldn't have said like that Jesus came to women. Like these were the first people. They wouldn't have taken a woman's like witness account to this, because like women didn't have any rights back then. They weren't able to go to school. They weren't able to do anything. So just the fact that they even said that like Jesus wanted to appear to a woman,
Yeah.
is just like proving that like, hey, like we're using anybody here that says they saw him.
Yeah.
Like they're just like, yes, this person saw them. They know they saw him. And I just think of them like they could have lied. Could have easily have lied and said that. And I also saw like another thing, like them talking about like kind of just like saying like how reliable the Bible is. Like Peter very easily could have said in like a lot of these things like, hey, don't like include that thing
Yeah.
with like
himself.
me. Like he's like, don't include me like denying Jesus or like anything like that. Like it's just so dumb. Like he's like, I don't want that. Like I don't want that to be in my name. But like he included it so people would know like, hey, I'm a sinner. I messed up so bad. I denied who Jesus was, and he called me the Rock. Like how much of a rock am I that I'm denying Jesus? Like he's like, no, keep that in.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just crazy.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Because at the time, like, well, that for Peter, that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
You know? The whole, like, him appearing to women thing, at the time, that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It also does talk about in the Bible, like, to treat, like, yeah, it says women are to serve man. It also says men are to serve women. We are to serve each other equally.
Yeah.
Which is like, at the time, that's not right.
Yeah.
And it also talks about when it, I can't specifically remember where it is, but it does talk about slavery. And it says to, you know, like to the master or whatever, treat your slaves like, you know, like people, like love them like how Jesus would love and all that. Or I don't know if it said specifically like how Jesus would love, but you know, that's the model for how you should love people.
Yeah.
Which is, for a book that's wrote in the first century, not written, oops.
Yeah.
For a book that's wrote in the first century, that's like, that's a little wild to me.
Yeah.
Knowing the time and everything.
I just think it's funny like how much like Matthew, Mark, and Luke, like very like sophisticated people, and then you get to John's a fisherman, and he's just including the most random stuff. He's like, John, the beloved one, like just saying like, yeah, Jesus loves me the most, or like he included like him beating Peter in a race to the tomb, and we're like, well, what was the point of that?
Yeah.
Like Peter was like, why are you including that?
Yeah.
But he just like that.
I think though, you know, the other three being so sophisticated, and then John, a fisherman. You know, Matthew was a tax collector. Luke was a doctor.
Believe so, yeah.
And I don't remember what Mark was.
He was someone smart.
Yeah.
Probably should know this.
You know, that's all different stuff. And that's all coming from different accounts that have not the same background at all. Honestly, if the Gospels were wrote by 4 doctors. I honestly don't know. Like, that would kind of be like less, that would mean less to me than it being a fisherman, a tax collector, a doctor, and whatever Marcus.
Yeah.
Like, they're all so different. It's just crazy to me.
Very, very hard.
Yeah.
It would be very hard to believe that stuff. And something else that I found with like, I don't really know if this is like proof. This isn't like proof of the Bible happening. Like, this is like, but I believe that this is like proof that this was like God's word.
Mm-hmm.
So the original language of the Torah, or probably just the whole Bible, is in Hebrew.
Yeah.
So they wrote the Torah in Hebrew. And if you take wherever it has the first T or Tav as it is in Hebrew, take the first Tav and you go 50 letters down, it will give you an 8. It will give you an O. Go 50 letters down again, it will give you an R. If you go 50 letters again, it will give you an H. It spells Torah. Not exactly Torah, but like basically Torah. And it will do that throughout the whole book of Genesis. You go to the next book, which is Exodus, does the same exact thing. You skip Leviticus and you go to the book of Numbers, it does it backwards. So it starts off with H and then Yabada. And then it goes to Deuteronomy, does the same thing as the book of Numbers. Why does it skip Leviticus though?
Yeah.
Because in Leviticus, it spells Yahweh every 7 letters. And it continues to do that over and over again. In Hebrew again. Again, this is Hebrew. You can't just like go to your book and just look at it. I tried. I gave up after the first. I was like, I can't look it. I can't do it. But it's just like, I don't know. That's not historical proof that like the Bible is real. But I believe that is like, this was God's intentional for it. Because like everything's just like, all of those books were just pointing towards Yahweh. All of it's pointing towards God or Jesus and all of that. So I just believe I believe that was cool. I've seen that for a while, and I looked it up, and it is true. So I think that was pretty cool.
There was another one. I sent you I saw it on Instagram. It was the one about all of Adam's kids. And how it spells out something. I don't know specifically what it spells out, so if you want to look that up on your own time, go for that. But I can't remember it off the top of my head. So
yeah, like all their names have meaning. To it. Like what they actually mean. Yeah, it's so I'm not gonna. Cool.
If I remembered it, I would tell you. But we can bring that up in another episode later on.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Another thing too I think is really cool is like they showed it at Passion this year. I think they showed it at Passion this year. The chart of where the Bible cross references another place in the Bible, which I'll put it up on screen and post. But you know what I'm talking about, right? Though
I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's just crazy to me.
How many was it again?
I'll pull it up now.
It was like some ridiculous number.
Yeah.
That you're just like, there's no way this could have just been by accident or by
63,779 times.
63,000?
Cross references found in the Bible depicted by a single arc. The color, 63, almost 64,000 times.
Oh my god. I didn't know it was that large. I was going to say like 1,000.
No. That's a lot. And it looks like a rainbow.
That's unreal.
Yeah. I don't know. What's another thing that can be compared to that? Just like, I don't know. I don't know how many times in a school history book stuff is cross-referenced, but I don't think it's almost 64,000 times.
Well, the thing is, like, it's not. This isn't. I said it was a history book.
Yeah.
It's a history book, but it's also it's a story.
Yeah.
It's not like this is exactly what happened. Like blah 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 blah. It was written. It's a written story. So like it's like, but it's not also just like one person writing it. It's 40 other authors writing
that's
it,
what's
which is like
crazy.
How are they just intertwining all that stuff?
How is 40 different authors cross-referencing each other 63,779 times?
That's unreal.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. I don't get it, man.
I remember when I saw that. I saw it a while ago, I think. I think I saw it at Passion Camp.
I think they probably showed it a couple times.
They probably have shown it multiple times, but when I saw it, I didn't really understand what it was. Mm-hmm. I think I was very tired at that time.
Yeah.
Because Louis was talking for a while, and I got pretty bored. Sorry, Louis. But I got bored when he was talking. And then he brought that up, and I didn't know what that reference was.
Yeah.
So then I saw it. I was like, oh, that looks cool. And then I talked to somebody afterwards, and they're like, you know what that is? And they told me what it was. I was like,
rainbow.
Cool. Yeah, pretty cool rainbow.
No, I think that's just one of the most wild things ever. Same with like the blood thing.
Yeah, like we were saying
up
earlier, just like how does it keep
Make
shocking
that make
me?
sense to me.
Yeah, I can't.
Tell me it's not Jesus.
The thing is, like,
please prove me wrong.
All this stuff, I will never be able to convince anybody with any of this stuff. Like, me just saying it is not me convincing. Like, I'm just reading. I'm saying like what other people have said. So like, I'm not gonna be able to convince anybody that this happened.
Yeah.
Like, it's all just like you putting
it's a leap of faith.
It's all other people putting their faith into it. Like, okay, like
yeah,
if there's this much evidence, and then you read the Bible, and there's gonna be a lot of stuff that's gonna push you towards it. Honestly.
Yeah, it's like building a bridge, and you don't quite have enough material to get there. Here's like where we're at. Here's the other side. We get it to here, and you have to make that jump yourself. Like you have to take that leap of faith yourself. But one thing I was told when I first started coming to church, before I got baptized, when I was questioning stuff too, I was told that I would rather waste my lifetime believing in Jesus than waste eternity not.
Yeah.
Because,
I got told this. It was like let's say, like, I don't believe this, what I'm about to say. Let's say Jesus wasn't real. Let's say all this is fake. But you go your whole life living what the Bible says.
Yeah.
You'll live a life ethically good. Relationshiply will be good. Like, you have good relationships. You won't have hate towards other people. You don't have to worry about things. You'll live without anxiety in your head. All that. You live that life, and it turns out not to be real. I don't believe you have anything to. I don't believe your life went to waste. I believe you had a good life. You impacted people in your life. But that's just saying if it's not real. I believe it's real.
Yeah.
I believe what I'm doing here is for a reason.
Yeah.
And my whole reason is to live for God.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, I mean, at the end of the day, I can't convince people to. I mean, I can convince people.
Yeah.
But
You can only do so much.
I can only do so much. I'm never going to be able to be like, hey, you should believe in Jesus. And I'm like, okay.
That's what I had a talk with somebody recently about it. And I told them, you are not the reason people are going to come to Christ.
Mm-hmm.
You yourself. Like, yeah, that's our mission as Christians, to bring others to Christ. But we can't do it. That's why I tell people, I say, like, you are going to be what opens them up to the Word.
Mm-hmm.
The Word of God. And that right there, they'll have their own free will. They have their own free will. They have their own choice, whether they want to follow that or not.
Mm-hmm.
I think, just lead them to the Word, and the Word will do the rest of the work.
Yeah.
Specifically, more like the Gospels. If anybody's, I would recommend, if anyone is new to this, start there.
Yeah, I think what I've been told is like reading the Gospels first is kind of like, I'm not saying that's like the best way to start,
Yeah.
but it's a way like, because I believe it's the main point of the Bible. It's like living the life of Jesus. Like, Jesus is only in the Bible for 4 chapters.
Yeah.
Or not 4 chapters, 4 books in the Bible. But it's all the same thing. And I believe that's very important just because that is what we are worshiping. And we should know like what we are worshiping first before we get into it. Because I believe if like you start off with Genesis, you start off with the first 5 books of the Bible, you're going to get bored. Like once you get into Leviticus, you're gonna be like, "Oh man, what am I doing?"
Habakkuk or whatever. Habakkuk. What's the one that has 6 chapters?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think the Gospels is a very good. It's a good point to start.
Yeah. It just makes everything else make sense.
Yeah.
Crazy, because
and then you'll read other stuff in the Bible and you're like, oh, it's pointing to it.
Like 1 Corinthians, it's all about living life through the gospel, or like living life like the gospel.
Yeah
Which you wouldn't understand really unless you read the gospel first.
Exactly.
Or if you read 1 Corinthians and were told that it's that. But yeah. This is derailed a little bit, but I don't think it's bad.
No.
I think it's great.
Yeah, I mean, I only have like one other like
I think
topic.
I'm out. There's definitely more I can think of. You can go.
So like
I'll be done for today.
Whenever we like came up with this topic for archaeological proof, my brain kind of went to like Noah's Ark.
Yeah.
Because that is like beginning of the Bible, that is one of the biggest things that happened.
Yeah.
Is the flood that took out basically the world. And I just started thinking like, where is the proof with like all of this? Because where did all that what happened like after the flood? And I was able to find some things saying, like in France, there's a graveyard like of just dead animals or like dead marine life, all this stuff that died and was like they're like captured like in time, basically like in the rock. And there was like this giant, not giant, but it's like a 7-foot like I mean, yeah, it's a giant, it's like a 7-foot marine reptile that died while giving birth to like another one.
It's not funny.
And it's literally just frozen in time. And like that stuff would not have died unless something like there was just a giant flood that just captured them in time.
Yeah.
And I found more stuff like there's like cliffs in England that are like the same in America. And that stuff doesn't happen unless that like they were at the same like I guess like the same water level or stuff like that. And they have found in the mountains of Nepal, the mountain range of Nepal, they find reptiles like marine reptiles, like fossils, in the mountain ranges. And that stuff just would not happen unless the water was just so high up, just covers all land. And that stuff, like, I just, like, look at that stuff. I'm like, there's no way that, like, there had to be a flood. There had to have been a flood. And I've also seen some stuff, like, saying that, like, they found Noah's Ark. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how much, like, about that. But I've seen some stuff with that.
Have you seen it does have the same dimensions, though, that it, like, that it claims to have in the Bible?
I mean, it's just...
I don't know if
I don't think they found the boat, but I think they found the...
maybe
like, where the boat was.
Yeah.
So...
unless you could tell me that it's wood, maybe I'd believe you. But, I mean, it would make sense, though, if, you know, when, like, where's the boat just gonna go?
I mean, they had to put it somewhere.
Unless they tore it down
Yeah.
to parts, but I don't know.
I don't know, man.
But, I mean, it makes sense, though, it definitely makes sense that the world was covered in water.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I mean, you look at Mars and it's, like, almost the same thing. Like, people are saying that it once had water going through. Where does all that go? How did our water level just sink? I mean, it's the same on any, like, I think it's the same as Mars. Like, there's no water or there's stuff frozen. Maybe.
Yeah.
Can't remember if that part's true or not. Pretty sure they found frozen water ice on Mars.
Yeah.
But
I was just reading this again, and it said that it's across England and then also crosses the Netherlands, Germany, Poland, southern Scandinavia, and other parts of Europe. And then is found in the Midwest of USA, Nebraska, Texas, Alabama, and Arkansas, and Colorado. And that was saying about the chalk beds, like the white cliffs in those areas. Like, the only way that those things are the same is because the water rises all at the same time. And, like, that wouldn't have happened unless that were to happen.
Yeah.
Like, it all matches up with, like, the same, like, time, I guess. That's how they measure.
I think you can tell rocks based off what, like, sedimentary level it's at and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
It's, and, like, I don't remember much from that chapter in science class, but
Yeah, it was a
pretty
long
sure
time
you
ago.
can tell how old stuff is based off that it's...
Yeah.
Yeah. But also just, like, going to Colorado and, like, where were we at? What was it? Dream Lake? Remember where it was, like, the massive, like...
Oh, it's just like...
cavern? Like, that just
Yeah.
doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Without there being water and breaking it down.
Yeah, I think of that stuff, and I'm just like, man, God's creation, it's just beautiful. Like, he created it all so...
Mm-hmm.
And it just looks so beautiful out there.
Yeah. I mean, like, the ultimate, like, designer. Like,
Mhm.
it's crazy. Yeah. Is that all you got, though?
That's all I have.
That's all I have, too. Well. Hey, before we get off, though, this is not planned. I'm just gonna do it. Big shout out to Luke Hasselbring. If you want to come in frame, you can. If not, you don't have to. This is Luke, guys. He runs everything behind the scenes.
Yep.
Literally everything. Without him, this would not be possible.
Yeah. We're also at Luke's house.
Yeah.
Luke lets us shoot in his studio.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't know why, but, like, he just loves this stuff. Like, he's like whenever we pitch the idea for the podcast, he's like, I got y'all.
Yeah.
And he's just such a servant at heart.
Yeah.
And he just, like, loves doing this stuff. Like, we don't make any money doing this stuff.
Yeah.
Because we just make no money doing it. But Luke doesn't really care about that. He's just like, I don't care. I just like want to help you guys do whatever you guys can, and we appreciate Luke because we would not be able to do. Well, we might be able to do some stuff, but I wouldn't be able to do it. They tell me what to do, and I'm just like plugging these headphones in and the microphones, setting up the stands. Like that's all I do. This 3 camera shot, all the audio, just everything,
lighting,
the lighting, just is all of them.
Yeah, this wasn't planned or anything. This was just on my heart, and I just want you to make sure that you are seen, and just so like people also know, like it's not just us two. Like this is revision. There's 3. You only see 2. Technically, there's 4.
Yeah,
I like that. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Get the 3rd microphone.
Yeah.
I'll just hop in, correct you guys whenever you spell something wrong.
He's just here. Wrong. He's got a dictionary next to him.
Yeah, he's like, he needs a. We're so bad with speaking.
Yeah, we should go back to school.
I'm back.
I'm not.
I need to take an
Well,
English
technically, I am. Just working.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we can outro now.
Anyways, thank you guys for watching this episode. I don't know what else to say.
I had a blast doing this. This might be one of my favorite topics.
Yeah, I had a good time with this topic.
Yeah.
Like, going into it, I didn't really know how I was going to get all this in, but a lot of this stuff kind of just, like, popped in my head, honestly.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be a little longer, too. I figured that would happen, but that's fine.
For this topic, it's kind of like a good episode to like go a little log on, but I mean, it's whatever.
Each episode, it just adds 10 minutes to each episode. It was 30-something, 40-something, now we're at 50-something. Yeah, okay, we're rambling now. It's time to go. See you guys next time. Bye.